Let's try this again. Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today is an exciting day. I want to give you a tour of our very small urban homestead that we have on our backyard of, I think, 7,000 square feet lot in town. Justin and I have dreams of moving out to a very large homestead someday where we have animals. I want to grow most of my own food someday, but today is not that day. But our backyard right now, it's been an awesome way to kind of get a little bit of experience for the homestead that we want to have in the future. So today I'm going to show you our really cool backyard, aka urban homestead, that has chickens, a garden, and we have a composting system. We have raspberry brambles. Does brambles mean weeds? Or can you also have raspberry brambles that are actually intentional? Our raspberry plants, and we have an apple tree. So I'm going to show you a little bit around in hopes to inspire you that if you have just a little bit of space in your backyard, you can actually get started on a lot of this too if you're interested. So a quick backstory, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago we moved to Montana and I had got my first real job as an engineer. When I got my first real job out of college, it was very stationary. It was an office job, still what I'm doing today, but I had this vision of myself where I would still be traveling a lot like I used to do. I went to high school in Germany and I have traveled and lived all over the world. And so when I got my first job, I had this vision still of myself traveling like I used to. And it was really, really painful to eventually realize that that just wasn't going to be my life anytime soon. So in the meantime, I also started developing this vision of my life that also included a home with roots, a homestead, having animals, a big garden, and eventually I came to realize that you can't do both of those things at the same time. Like, you can't have a home with roots and a garden and chickens to take care of and also be traveling all the time. So eventually I realized that the whole traveling Julian wasn't going to be happening anytime soon. So I just decided, screw it, I'm going to make some of that other dream lifestyle come true now. And so I planted a garden, we got chickens, and although my life wasn't exactly what I wanted, it was a little bit more in the direction of my dreams, or one of my dreams, and it really made a really big impact in my happiness levels, my So today I'm going to show you a little bit of what we have going on in the backyard. That includes chickens, a composting system, a big garden, and oh boy, you struggling? Alright, so let's get going with the garden. Where are you going? Out of the sandbox? Great. Remy really wanted to come play in his sandbox, so this is a perfect opportunity for me to show you about the compost. So as you probably know, every year, especially in America, so much of our household waste is food waste, and it gets sent to a landfill where it degrades and contributes to methane, which warms the climate. And food waste and green waste is a really, really easy thing to keep out of your waste stream. And so one of the ways that we reduce our impact is by sending all of our food waste and a lot of our garden waste and green waste to these composts. So all year long we take all of our food waste and we take it out here. We don't worry about watering it or turning it or anything like that through the year. I know a lot of people do, but that didn't work for us because trying to manage it all year long was just too much of a pain. So what we do, which has turned out to be really, really good for us, is that we, when our garden is done in the fall, I'll unscrew these boards, I'll take everything that's in the compost, put them in a wheelbarrow, and I'll take them onto the garden bed. And then we'll spend a month or a couple months in the fall just really, really composting it. We'll turn it every other day, every few days, a couple times a week. We'll water it and we'll make sure all of the ratios are right. And it's a really fun, a really physically engaging activity. It's a lot of exercise, and it's super fun to watch all of your waste get turned into compost. So then we will let it sit all winter long. So then by the next spring, when all the snow is melted off, before we plant the garden, we'll take all that compost and we'll just spread it out all over the garden bed. And then we have an amazing garden. So it really is awesome to have the cycle just happen in our own yard, where we turn our food waste into compost that turns into more food. So it's a really great cycle of life, baby. Hi. Yes? So right next to our compost is the trash. Yes, that's true. But that's also the best place that we were able to put our raspberry bushes. I really wanted to plant raspberries, and one of the things about raspberries that you may or may not know is that the roots are rhizomic. I think that's what it means. So they just go out and they freaking sprout everywhere. So you don't want to put them somewhere that you absolutely don't want little raspberry shoots coming out, because they're kind of spiky, and so you really just don't want them popping up everywhere. So this is where we put them, and they get a lot of nutrients from the compost, and they get a fair amount of sun. And although Justin and I didn't eat that many, Remy ate a ton of raspberries, and he has really started loving, he learned this summer how to pick them himself, which is super awesome. So that's where we put that, and if you have space in your backyard, you can really stick them anywhere. There's some plants that do really well in just random locations, like rhubarb is an excellent example. Raspberry bushes, like I said, as long as you don't want their little sprouts popping up everywhere. So that's the back area. So adding chickens to the backyard was one of the best decisions I've ever made for my life. They're so fun to be around, they have personalities, they're super easy to take care of, and they make eggs. So, like I said, they're super entertaining, and they take a little while to warm up to you, but once they do warm up to you, they actually love getting pets. Who wants pets? Who wants pets? You want pets? Then they get jealous of each other? Pets. 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 And another one of the super great things about chickens is that they're a step between your kitchen and the compost. So if there's food that is still edible for chickens, you know, that you don't want to throw straight into the compost, the chickens will eat all that stuff. What's really great about that is that you eat the eggs, and so you're really recycling your food from the kitchen into more food for yourself. Hi. What? Do you think so too? Where'd your shirt go? Were you playing in the tub? Remy, come back. Why you make this so hard? All right, I'm just gonna have to walk and show you the garden. So every year I plant sunflowers, I plant kale, I plant zucchini, and I've been planting tomatoes. I plant sunflowers just because they are so beautiful and they're so fun and they bring me so much joy, and they're so silly and tall, and they get a little crazy and they like lean over like that and they fall down like that. But they bring me so much joy. One cool thing about sunflowers is they bring in a lot of pollinators. And this year, for the first time, that squirrel that was just over on the apple tree, I think it's the same squirrel, he or she, I'm not sure what its pronouns are, came over onto one of these sunflowers and climbed up one of the stalks, and then sat on the back, like climbed up here, like sat on the back of it, on the top of it, and then was like kind of pissed off because it couldn't get to where the seeds are. So that was really funny. But you can see a lot of the stalks, the tops of the sunflowers have been ripped off by birds or maybe the squirrel. So they provide a lot of food at this time of year. I would process the sunflower seeds, but for some reason, I don't have that much time on my hands. Every single year I plant kale because it's delicious and it grows really well here. Are you destroying my beets? I plant some root vegetables every year too, like beets and carrots. What are you doing? Turning it down? Okay. Okay, so anyway, every year I plant zucchinis, like I showed you, mostly because they grow prolifically and they're just super easy to grow. You don't actually need that much space to grow zucchinis as long as you thin out the leaves. I read that watched that on a YouTube channel maybe last year, and I started doing that. So I plant them a little bit closer together than you're supposed to, but as long as I thin them out and get all the leaves out, which I haven't been maintaining these ones very well. I wonder why. Why could it be that I don't have that much time? This is an African basil plant that I planted this year as an experiment, and it turns out that it is really bringing in the pollinators, so that's really fun. Every year we put these hoops up, and then I have a really thick greenhouse plastic that I put over everything on this side. From the beginning of planting season, which is technically in the middle of June here, but I have been starting to plant things in the beginning of May, which seems to make a big difference. As long as I put over this plastic, it's like a proper greenhouse plastic, I just keep that on until it starts getting really, really hot, and then take it off. And then towards the end of the year, towards the end of the growing season, when it starts getting cold again, I will put that plastic back over. There is nothing like a fresh garden tomato. Ah, so good. So that is the basics of our little backyard in town urban homestead. I hope you feel inspired to start something like that in your own backyard. Like I said, I think our lot's only like around 7,500 square feet, so it's really small. But planting these things and growing chicken or raising chickens in the backyard, having a composting system, they all make me feel that much closer to my dream of having a homestead someday. So I hope you feel inspired to just get started on whatever it is that you can, even if that means just planting food in pots, or even if that means having a couple of chickens. Whatever works for you, there's a way to do it. So I wish you the best in your homesteading and dream adventures. And thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Apparently that is really gonna help me. And like this video if you enjoy it, and I would love to hear your comments below. Do you have a urban homestead? Do you dream of a big homestead? What do you have going on at your house right now? Maybe you just have some herbs in a window. And how does it make you feel? Because I know that having all of this in our backyard really makes me feel happy, and it makes me feel more connected to the earth, even though I just live in town. So leave me some comments, subscribe, notification bell, like this video. That's a lot of things. And until next time, thanks for watching.